What's up, y'all? Lord of the Plains here. Today's video is going to be actually how I rank my movies. I don't really see a lot of critics or YouTubers or whoever is reviewing movies actually explain the way they rate things. Most people either have three forms of rankings. That's going to be stars, letters, and numbers. Letter rankings is going to be A plus, A, F, C minus, D plus, those types of letters. Numbers is more associated with like 7.4 out of 10, 9.9 out of 10, that sort of ranking. Most of the time I'm going to do a letter system just because I feel like that gives you a broad enough example of what it is instead of actually having to say, oh, I didn't like this movie, I gave it a 6.8. Well, what's the 0.8 for? This way I at least have a broad example. So for example, if I'm gonna rate a movie that is an A plus, that is meaning it's going to be a rare and wonderful treat. That film exceeds in practically every single way possible. It's pretty much flawless in every example. Now, movies I would consider that are an A plus. The Fugitive, The Sandlot. Now, I'll put a caveat on that. The Sandlot is an A plus in my mind because of nostalgia and just because I grew up with that movie. Sure, there are a few issues with the film, but I overlook that. I got Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Hell or High Water, and 12 Angry Men. Those are some movies that I would actually give an A plus. Those movies are practically flawless in every single way. They're a wonderful treat. And honestly, they exceed my expectation every single time that I watch. Now, below an A plus is an A. That's just superb entertainment. You're enjoying the film so much that you want to go watch it again, and it's just so good, right? Examples of that, in my opinion, Dune Part 2 is an A, The Whale with Brendan Fraser, No Country for Old Men, Fargo, Modern Times. Those are examples of movies that I consider an A ranking. Now, a lot of these films are more recent per se, so I'm trying to give you an example of movies now, movies back a decade or two ago, and then movies, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades ago. So I'm trying to give you like a broad example of those types of movies throughout. An A minus, so this, in my opinion, is what an A film would be with a flaw or two. Now, those movies would be Violent Night, Wind River, Twister, Joker. Those are some of what I consider an A minus. Now, it doesn't mean like those flaws are super bad or they make the movie so much worse, but in my opinion, there's just a flaw or two that you notice, and it just kind of sticks with you anytime you watch it. So that's why I would rank it at an A minus. Going into the B category, we have B plus, B, and B minus. Now, B plus movies are going to be a good movie with something that stands out, whether it be a performance, an action sequence, a music sequence, something like that. Now, some films I consider to be in that ranking would be Killers of the Flower Moon, the Super Mario Brother movies. There was a movie with Gerard Butler last year called Plane. Those are what I would consider. Now, in all three of those movies that I just explained, they're very good movies. The thing that stood out for me, though, was the actual performances of the main character. Gerard Butler's character in Plane was really well done. I really found it to be enticing. Killers of the Flower Moon, Lily Gladstone, Leonardo DiCaprio, they did phenomenal, and it was amazing. Super Mario Brothers movies, I actually enjoyed all of the casting in it. I enjoyed all the voice acting in it, but it's just, there are a few things in it that, could be better. It's a little slow, whatever it may be, but it's just a good movie with something that stands out with some flaws. Now, let's go right into B. Now, a B is where I'm just going to say it's a good movie and I recommend it. Now, not that I don't recommend all the rankings above, but this is just a general run-of-the-mill movie that I'm going to give a good recommendation. Beast with Idris Elba from a few years ago, Bullet Train, Arachnophobia. Obviously, there are some issues with all of these films that I just mentioned, but They're good. They're your run-of-the-mill action movie, run-of-the-mill good character study, just something that's enticing. Not going to be the best movies, but they're at least good recommended movies that I would suggest you watch. All right, now B-, this is where we start digging into it a little bit more. There are flaws with the movie, but they're still worth watching. Godzilla vs. Kong, a couple years ago. Now, that movie was entertaining to watch. A lot of flaws with the movie, but it's still worth watching for the action and the minor characterization in it. Along with that, you got What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. You have Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, there are flaws with the movie, but it's still worth watching. You still want to go watch it every few months just because it's that rememberable. Alrighty, folks, let's get into the nitty-gritty. I just want to say these are my opinions. You can vilify me all you want, but these are my opinions, so don't let me influence you one way or another. And if I do, great. If I don't, great. There are going to be 1 or 2 movies that people are going to put in an A+ or an A that I'm going to put at a lower ranking. So like I said, just be prepared. Your C+ movies are going to be average, but something sticks out. The things that stick out for me in a couple of these movies, Con Air and Blindside, I thought the characterization was really good, but the story was just dull. And so the actors and the characterization of their part gave me that notion to say, hey, this stuck out, but I'm gonna rank it here because I didn't really like the story. Now, on the opposite side, I really enjoyed the story of this one, but the characters and the actors weren't as good, and that was Maze Runner. So that's going to be like your baseline C+ movie rating for me. Now, your C movies, not good, not bad. It's just your run-of-the-mill movie. Lord of War, Freaky Friday, Bruce Almighty, Minority Report. I mean, it's good, it's bad. Some characterization's good, story may be bad or good, actors are fine, you know, just your run-of-the-mill, oh, hey, I'll watch this if I'm flipping through the streaming service just because I was like, oh, I haven't seen that in 5 years, let's go ahead and watch it. Now, your C- films, noticeable flaws, not the best, not the worst movies, but there are noticeable flaws. You just find yourself not wanting to watch them anymore. Like Limitless or The A-Team, both with Bradley Cooper. There's noticeable flaws in the film, plot holes, characterization, over-the-top acting, but they're movies that, like I said, you might go watch every 3-4 years because it pops up. Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, that was a film that should have sort of not been made with a couple of characters, but I still enjoyed it. And then the last one I would put in there, Black Panther. I put Black Panther way down there. The only thing I really found investing in that movie was Chadwick Boseman and Andy Serkis. Everything else, the action sequence at the very end with the train, very bad CGI, everything about it. Oh man, I could go on a whole lot about Black Panther, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it there. Now, everybody's going to probably vilify me on that one, but my opinion, like I said. All right, now D to F rankings, these are just all around bad. Nothing really is worth watching about it. Maybe it shouldn't have been made, but there's at least something that stands out with a D+. You got Snakes on a Plane, Samuel L. Jackson. That's the only thing that really stands out about that movie. John Carter, I think took like $300 million to make, but the thing that stood out with it is it looked good. Just everything else about it was bad. Now, your D movies are just a bad effort overall. Not necessarily shouldn't have been made, but at least it should have just, they're just bad. Like, nobody really wants to watch them. You Cats, Morbius, Jaws the Revenge, Emoji Movie. Why did these movies even get made? They're just bad. Bad acting, bad cinematography, bad storylines, characterization, plot holes, everything about it was just bad. So why should they even been made? Now, F, Madam Web, Catwoman, Master of Disguise, those movies are awful, never should be made at all, never watch, just a waste of time. That is my critic ranking. Now, think about all the movies I just mentioned, but I also do a second ranking of my letters, and that is my entertainment. Now, like I said, Godzilla vs. Kong was my B minus. I actually ranked that at an A minus for entertainment because I enjoyed the action. It was the Titans fighting. That's great. So it went up in rankings. Let's take Super Mario Brothers movies. I ranked that at a B. I'd probably put that at an A minus for my entertainment. Snakes on a Plane, that's a D plus movie, but I'm gonna rank that at a B minus because it's fun. It's snakes on a plane. It's bad, but it's entertaining to watch. So that's pretty much this entire video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. I do a cinematic review and an entertainment review. If you haven't watched my last video, it was actually a movie review of The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I gave my cinematic review and my entertainment review. But yeah, I really appreciate the support, y'all. Definitely give this a like, subscribe, and comment. Share it with everybody. Hopefully y'all liked my opinions or didn't like my opinions on this video. But go ahead and comment below on what you would rank an A+, a C+, whatever it may be. And I know some of y'all are going to come at me in the comments about Black Panther, but I welcome it. I keep saying I need to upload videos more often, but I just had a kid, or I didn't have a kid. My wife had a kid about 7 weeks ago, so I've been back and forth with my family and work. Other than that, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I hope y'all are great. Peace, love, and freedom. My first official movie review after I explained my ranking system. So this movie is actually called In the Land of Saints and Sinners. It stars Liam Neeson, Kerry Condon, and a few other people. If I have to say, this is one of the better character study movies I've actually seen in a while. Now, earlier this year, there was a movie starring Daisy Ridley called Sometimes I Think About Dying. I had actually thought it was going to be a really good character development and study movie, but it was a little bit dull because of the entire tone of the movie. It was very shallow, very melodramatic, so you didn't get a lot of interesting characterization that you would actually be tuned in for. This movie, however, was phenomenal. The set pieces was amazing, the cinematography was great, the music was great, all the characters in the movie actually had a good fundamental understanding of what their character was, and each actor portrayed the character very well. Something that actually worked really well was anybody in a scene together. They all had great chemistry, probably because it's set in like 1970s Ireland and all these actors and actresses are Irish, so that probably could do it. If you watch this movie, you're going to understand that there is a movie that's not going to get very popular, not going to get a lot of box office numbers like this movie, and it's very under the radar. You appreciate the amount of time and effort that they put into this movie. It's honestly, this movie is one of my favorites of the year. It's probably going to be in my top 5, not gonna lie. It is just all around amazing. Something about the movie that interested me and I took to heart was no matter what job or what project or whatever you're working on, do what you love. Because Liam Neeson is a hitman or a retired hitman, and he got very tired of it and he's done with it and he wants to move on with his life and just, be in peace. And there's a partner that comes in later on who he works with that absolutely loves the job. He's very excited. He wants the next thing. He wants to go kill the next person, and he's very excited about it. Two characters gave a good heartwarming feeling and a good message saying, whatever you love, make sure you do it until the end. Kerry Condon as a villain was absolutely phenomenal. I loved her part. She's very passionate about the propaganda and whatever she's fighting for. Towards the beginning of the movie, there is something that is very sad that happens, but you kind of get a peek into what her character is like, even though she is very villainous. And Liam Neeson, as always, he's done Taken, Nonstop, all these, kind of ridiculous action thriller movies. But this movie, I would actually say this is one of his better performances of all time. The ratings I'm going to give it cinematically an A-, but entertainment-wise, I'm going to put it at an A+. This movie, I'm actually going to go back and watch frequently because I loved it. It was very well done, and there's nothing bad I can say about the movie. Like, this is what you want a movie to be. You want it to be entertaining, you want it to be heartfelt, you want it to be scary, you want it to be emotional. One other thing I will say that I really enjoyed is the realism. Now, when a character gets shot, usually in movies, they flinch, or it doesn't really show that they're affected that much. But towards the final act of the film, when a couple people are shot, you actually see that they're physically in pain. You see the bloodlust. You see the life being drained out of them. And that is realism. That's something I appreciate. Unlike the John Wick films, there are some people in there that, you know, it's like a superhero movie where, you know, you get hit or shot and it doesn't affect them. But in this movie, it's very real, and it's just something that I appreciated. And the sound design was absolutely jaw-dropping. You heard every single thing. And I have a hearing deficit, so to be able to hear every single thing is very impressive. So once again, my cinematic rating is an A-, my entertainment is an A+. I highly recommend it.